Imagine a craftsman carefully sewing a glass eye into a magnificent, preserved wolf. He admires apex predators, but only after making absolutely sure they no longer have the teeth to bite him. The pattern I keep noticing in sudden, cold breakups looks deeply similar to this. Society tells you the person who walked away is out there thriving. But when you look closely at avoidant attachment, a darker reality emerges. You likely assume you were left behind because you were not enough. I think it is highly possible you were pushed away because your capacity for raw, living intimacy was an unpredictable apex predator. To a highly guarded nervous system, your unconditional love did not feel like a gift. It felt indistinguishable from a mortal threat. Attachment research frequently points toward a very different conclusion. Studies exploring adult attachment often suggest that dismissive behaviors operate as a deeply ingrained survival mechanism, rarely born from malice. For you, this means the coldness you experienced was likely not a lack of love, but a surplus of fear. When emotional proximity crosses a certain threshold, a highly dismissive nervous system frequently struggles to register closeness as safety. It registers an imminent strike. When you tried to get close, their body likely reacted as if it were under physical attack. It looks a lot like a biological preservation reflex. They had to stop the unpredictable heartbeat of the relationship just to lower the rising panic. The intimacy you offered required vulnerability. To someone carrying deep attachment wounds, removing their armor feels remarkably like stepping into oncoming traffic blindfolded. Think about how it actually ended. You sit on the couch. You reach out to hold their hand or ask a simple question about tomorrow. Their shoulder twitches. They suddenly remember an email they have to send, or they start an unnecessary fight over the dishes, and they leave the room entirely. They did not pull away from your hand. They pulled away from the terrifying demand of being known. That is an incredible amount of psychological effort just to avoid 10 seconds of genuine human connection. This brings us to the maddening contradiction of modern dating. Why does the person who abandoned you still watch your daily updates? Why do they send vague, breadcrumbing texts months later? Because they do not want you back in the room. They want to put you in a glass case. Once you are safely locked behind the impenetrable glass of time and distance, they can finally love you flawlessly. Clinical literature frequently highlights a defense mechanism known as the phantom X. The past partner is idealized strictly because they are out of reach. They curate a phantom vitrine. A stuffed, curated memory rarely demands vulnerability. It rarely expresses complex needs. It cannot abandon them. When they pull away, it is often because any real, living need feels like a catastrophic demand. They keep watching your life from afar because distance becomes one of the few ways they know how to safely experience love. In a culture obsessed with the endless swiping of dating apps, they chose the ultimate controlled environment. Real human connection is messy. It is chaotic. They chose the predictable safety of a diorama over the terrifying reality of a living, breathing partner. But let us look at what this is actually costing you. You spend 3 hours drafting a 2-line text. You type it out, delete it, analyze the punctuation, and wonder if a period seems too aggressive. You are burning your own life force to keep a ghost warm. Their avoidance was built by their circumstances long before they met you. But your willingness to wait outside their glass case is maintained by your habit. Habits can be examined. You are exhausting yourself trying to prove that you are safe to someone who is terrified of the very concept of safety. Stop looking at their social media to see if they look happy. The illusion of the hyper-independent lone wolf is a cultural myth. Let us look at the hidden reality of their daily life. Picture them sitting alone in their sterile apartment on a Friday night. The room is quiet. They open their phone and tap on your Instagram story. For a brief second, they see your face and they feel a surge of longing. But immediately, the body's main stress hormone spikes. The physical tension in their chest becomes unbearable. Instead of reaching out to say they miss you, they abruptly close the app, toss the phone onto the couch, and turn on the television to numb the noise. They chose to remain in the silence rather than risk the vulnerability of a single text message. Health institutions point out that this mental clash of desperately wanting love but being terrified of it takes a severe physical toll. Chronic stress can frequently lead to wild weight fluctuations, where a person might gain or lose 10 to 20 pounds in months. The financial reality of addressing this is steep. Out-of-pocket costs for specialized therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy, designed to rewire these unhelpful thinking patterns, average between $150 to $300 per session in the U.S. That is the literal tax they pay to maintain their trauma museum. University psychology departments often indicate that extreme self-reliance acts as an emotional shield, and self-sabotaged relationships are frequently followed by isolated regret. They are a lonely curator trapped in a silent museum of their own making, surrounded by the beautiful ghosts of people they were too afraid to actually touch. But the real tragedy is not that they built a museum. The tragedy is that you are still standing perfectly still inside it. You are holding your breath, hoping that if you look beautiful enough, quiet enough, and undemanding enough behind the glass, they might finally break it. I know it sounds harsh to look at it this way. Part of you probably still wants to rescue them. You want to break into the room and prove that you will not hurt them. But you cannot love someone into biological regulation. You cannot convince a preservation reflex that the danger has passed. Every time you reach out, every time you try to offer comfort, you are just tapping on the glass of their vitrine. The more you try to prove your safety, the more their nervous system identifies you as a threat attempting to breach the perimeter. You did not choose to be discarded, but you are the one who can choose to stop tapping on the glass. This is the hidden reality of the sudden exit. It is cold, it is severe, and it is entirely disconnected from your worth as a partner. You were pushed away frequently because your ability to love openly was the exact light that exposed the terrifying shadows of their isolation. When tempted to check their social media to see if they are happy, remind yourself that you are looking at a curated museum. Put the phone down. Let them have their museum. You have a life to live. I keep wondering what would happen if you took all that raw, untamed capacity for connection and finally gave it to someone who was not terrified of the wild. You are a living thing. Stop trying to survive in a diorama.